It's time for the Mike Brey Radio Show, live from O'Rourke's Public House in Eddy Street Commons. The Mike Brey Radio Show is brought to you by Team Notre Dame members, Adidas, Gatorade, McDonald's, Coca-Cola, and Sprint. And is sponsored by ATI Physical Therapy, Bank of America, Xfinity, Great Clips, Papa John's, St. Joseph Regional Medical Center, South Bend Orthopedics, and O'Rourke's Public House. Tonight's show is also sponsored by Legacy Heating and Air Conditioning, Papa Vino's Italian Kitchen, and Chili's. Now, let's go live to O'Rourke's Public House for the Mike Brey Radio Show.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Mike Brey Radio Show, live from O'Rourke's Public House. Got a bunch of Irish fans here. Very busy week for your team. 3 games in 5 days against, I know Notre Dame fans don't want to hear it, but against very good teams. And you played the best team last in North Dakota State. And we were just talking, might have been nice to get them first.
Well, may have caught up to us a little bit, but, I mean, we got beat by a really good basketball team last night. I mean, we're disappointed. We're struggling a little bit right now, the ebb and flow of a college basketball season. We're struggling a little bit offensively ever since the second half of the Bryant game on Monday. Yeah, we've been pretty good overall this season, and traditionally this program has been very efficient offensively, but we had some great looks in the second half last night. You got to make a couple more of those to escape a really good basketball team. In hindsight as a coach, you always go back and watch film. What could you have done better? And I told our guys today, I said, I could have helped us a little bit more by changing some defenses in the middle of the second half. We went zone with about 4.5 minutes to go, and that helped us because the big guy was really doing a number on us. And we probably should have been in something different at about the 10-minute mark. But having said that, we made a run, had some chances, and had some really clean looks. You're going to have to make some shots over their defense because they play a very packed-in defense, a very good defensive team. And when we got those looks, you hit 2 in a row, and maybe the whole climate changes, but could never really do that. Missed some tough free throws, missed some front ends of 1-and-1s, and again, a good basketball team, a team that's going to be an NCAA tournament team and win their league, gets us. So, you're back on your heels a little bit. We haven't practiced in a while when we played so many games. Today, we couldn't get right back in and practice. We needed a little rest, especially those guys that have logged some heavy minutes. But tomorrow, I'm kind of excited because we need a good practice. We don't really we can't expect to play well Saturday against Indiana unless we get some good reps in a practice situation. It'll be our first practice, real one, since last Friday. That's how busy the week has been. In between these games,
they're kind of walkthroughs.
Yeah, they were walkthroughs. We really couldn't go live and they were hard games. They took a lot out of us. So, again, you're disappointed, but in a college basketball season, how do you bounce back? How do you got a chance for a great win on Saturday down in Indianapolis, and, man, that could cure some ills. But we play a really good team, and it'll be a road atmosphere. That place will be full of Indiana fans. But it is a great day of basketball, though, and I know a lot of fans from South Bend I just saw a couple walking in saying, hey, we're going down. It is a great day of basketball, sold-out building, 2 good games. And as we know, Indianapolis knows how to do basketball.
And certainly a very challenging week, and there were some things you had to deal with, and they're not excuses, they're just facts. But you're the only team in the Gotham Classic that's done now, except for the game in New York, for a couple of reasons. You've got the Crossroads commitment on Saturday, and next week you have exams. Everybody else is spreading their games out over the course of the next 2 weeks.
Yeah.
You couldn't do it. That didn't help. And I want to talk a little bit about Marshall Bjorklund, because everybody's asking me today, who the heck was that guy? Well, he's a 6'8" forward who wants to be a pig farmer. That's why he went to North Dakota State. That's really all he wants to do, but he may have to go play in the NBA because he is number 3 in the country right now in field goal percentage. He makes just under 70% of his shots. All-time career field goal percentage, he's at 66.7, number 4. He's ahead of guys like Bill Walton, Lou Alcindor, Akeem Olajuwon, Lou Alcindor, of course, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, and he's not really a dunker. He's a guy that's moving, hook shots, little jumpers. I mean, he's a heck of an offensive player. You knew that, and sometimes you have to tip your cap and say, hey, he made shots and we didn't. But This team is good. I'm not saying there's a team that should come in and beat you at your place, but anybody that really studied him wasn't that shocked.
No, I mean, again, he's a heck of a player. I don't know if we'll play a low-post guy that is that much of a threat offensively, even in the ACC.
With both hands.
And he made some really tough shots. We tried to double a little early in the game, and they made 5 threes in the first half as he kicked it out. But you probably should have gone back to double teaming a little bit or changing defenses, as I said. And that's on me. I could have done that. I told our guys we should have done that at about the 10-minute mark, not the 4.5-minute mark. But no, a heck of a team. I mean, again, we're really disappointed. We're disappointed when we lose at home. But a good basketball team. And again, I don't want to take anything away from how they played. Veteran guys who've won together. And again, coming in here, really confident, just like Delaware and Bryant were. And, we get that when they come into this place, and a lot of nights we've been able to weather it, but twice this year we have not been able to weather it.
Which is very unusual.
Yeah,
The Indiana State game was the first game that you have ever lost at home in your tenure here in the month of November.
Right. Yeah, and I think for us, as I said, when you look at us, tomorrow we need to get up and down the court a little bit, almost in a controlled scrimmage where we can play and guys get into an offensive rhythm again and see some shots go in. I thought we turned down some shots in the second half last night when we missed a couple because we were a little like, it's not my night. And I mentioned to him today, I said, the history of our program, no shooter has been afraid to shoot playing for me. And I don't want anybody looking over their shoulder or turning down shots. Atkins, Grant, Connaughton, and now even Demetrius Jackson, their percentages from the three-point line say, if you have a good look, take it. If you're shooting 24% from the three-point line, we may say, whoa, whoa, whoa. But those 4 guys have proven they can shoot it from there, and they're going to have to, especially against a team that's jamming it in like they did. Again, had looks, couldn't get them, and you're going to have to make you're going to have to, you could talk about defending their low post and all that. You're going to have an offensive spurt to escape that. That's how we've beaten teams here. You have to have an offensive spurt to escape a team like that. And we could never really get that. We'd hit a 3, and then we have to hit 2 in a row. And we've done that before, but couldn't do it last night. You know what? You don't have time to look back over your shoulder now. We didn't watch any film of that. We need to get into some practice reps. We watched some film of Indiana today, moving forward, and this ends a segment for us on Saturday, and then we have a week of exams before we play Ohio State. So it's a great opportunity, exciting opportunity. I want us to play like we did in Iowa City. We were just fearlessly going for it and, played great, just couldn't finish it. Let's see if we can finish it down there in a road-type atmosphere.
You've been in this a long time, and from a fan perspective, and you want the fans to be passionate, and you have set up an expectation that you don't lose in your building. So it's natural for fans to be frustrated. And whenever that happens, there's always a guy on the bench that they know could have gotten the job done and should have gotten it done. And what I like about you is you never duck anything, and you didn't duck it today when you were asked about Zach August. So let's talk about Zach August moving forward.
Well, he's had a tough week. The last time we practiced, he didn't have a great practice, and then he didn't have a real good spurt in the Delaware game, and he was struggling a little bit confidence-wise. And, what probably hurt him this week, too, is because we didn't have any full practices, he could never really kind of get back and redeem himself. And, one of the things he and I talked about today was tomorrow's practice is good for him because he just needs some practice reps and be ready to play on Saturday. I mean, he's a guy we're going to need, and that's going to be a little bit of a revolving door on that front line, as it already has been. Tom Knight was a forgotten man for a while, and he's given us a little bit more. Austin Burgett started at one time. Zach should look at it as my shot to go make a run at maybe that other spot. Or, the one thing that's not etched in stone is our front line. Sherman has been our most consistent guy, and he's been healthy the whole preseason. So, but you know what? We're always searching and looking, and I did like what Steve Astoria gave us. We put another guard in the game, and he made a shot, and he was pretty solid, and he's going to be important moving forward. And even B.J. Beecham, who's our guest tonight, he hasn't gotten a real big shot yet, but he will. He will. They all will.
And we should throw in there, because I think it happened under the radar. It happened in October before people have shifted their focus to basketball. Zach broke his hand in practice and missed just about 3 full weeks, and he wasn't 100% after that. That doesn't help. He's only a sophomore, and something that I've learned since being here when Digger was still roaming the sidelines is it has always appeared to me, and please correct me if this is an incorrect impression, but it takes longer for the big guys, the 6'9", 10, 11 guys sometimes, to make that adjustment, especially when you've got guys in front of them who are performing, than it does maybe for a guard. It's a little bit easier for a guard to jump up, and they still have a learning curve too. Demetrius has one now. Sometimes it's harder for the big guys to do that.
I would agree with that, and that's kind of been the history of our program, where, Troy Murphy was a sure thing, Luke Herringody was a sure thing. But other than that, it's been guys over time.
Jack Cooley's a great example.
Cooley's a great example. And I think Zach August is very much on his type of curve. I think he's ahead of that curve. But this is a big couple days for him to finish this segment. It's a big couple days, middle of the end of next week before we play Ohio State, to kind of get back in a rhythm and feel good about how he played, and a lot of that's on me too, to help him feel good. That's what I talked about. It's not just him. That's a two-way street, and I can be better, nurturing him too.
We'll be back to talk about a rather interesting and impressive statistic involving Notre Dame's guards right now, and answer some of our audience questions here at O'Rourke's Public House right after this timeout. It's the Mike Brey Radio Show, live from O'Rourke's Public House. Welcome back to the Mike Brey Radio Show, live from O'Rourke's Public House, where we'd like to remind you that Steiner is your exclusive provider of hand-signed ND collectibles. Visit steinersports.com or call 1-800-759-SCORE to speak with one of our VIP sales associates. We've got a bunch of questions from folks here, and we're going to start with the regular. Sue from Boston is here once again.
Yeah.
Coach, as an assistant at Duke, how much of your coaching philosophy has been shaped or was shaped during your time there?
No, I have, I draw on my 8 years there and experiences every day, as I did, coaching with Morgan Wooten at DeMatha. But, now you've been a head coach, almost 20 years. You really kind of develop your own style, and you kind of develop a style that you feel is very conducive out here, and then you recruit to it. But those were great. Those were a great 8 years in Durham at Duke. Because you got your hands on all facets of the program, and you were prepared to be a head coach. When I went to Delaware in '95, and I've done that. Try to do that with my staff. Just kind of let them get their hands on everything, so they're ready when they become a head coach.
And that was a remarkable run. You went to 6 straight Final Fours, won 2 titles, and you really were the lead recruiter for those teams. So you certainly have been doing that part of the business a long time.
Been in it a long time. All those guys now, they show the highlights of that 92 team, and my God, that was a while ago. I see the excerpts. I wore a tie.
I was at that Final
I wore a tie, had more hair, all of those things. But
didn't we all?
Of course, Bobby Hurley, who I recruited, is the head coach at the University of Buffalo now. Chris Collins, is at Northwestern. I recruited him when I was down there.
The other night, Leitner's got a basketball skills camp now.
He's doing a camp, yep. And all those guys. Grant Hill is retired finally. He played a long time. But great memories and a lot of good friends. Tommy Amaker at Harvard, Johnny Dawkins at Stanford. Those guys you stay in touch with. And, of course, now we have to compete against the Blue Devils since we signed up for the ACC.
And the TV folks decided that had to be your first ACC
that's our
game.
opener.
That was a surprise. You kind of saw that coming, didn't you?
we did. I could have predicted that one.
So, and that game's pretty well sold out, but I will give you a little hint I heard today. There might be a couple things leaking out there, so keep your eyes open. There might be some opportunities maybe to get yourself a couple tickets to that game. That set a personal record for me. I've been asked for more tickets for that game than any game since I've been here.
Yeah, I'm hiding from the request, quite frankly. But
well, you have staff to shield you.
Yeah, that in North Carolina are ones. But, we got a bunch of good ACC games. Of course, we've got Canisius on the 29th when we come back from Christmas before we get into the ACC. But I think it would be intriguing. I think it is going to be intriguing for our fans to see the Atlantic Coast Conference teams come through here,
Absolutely.
not just Duke and North Carolina.
Pat from South Bend asked an interesting question, and you have been highly complimentary of the fans and the way they've been turning out a lot of games this week, but there have been some empty seats, and Pat would like to know what effect, if any, does it have on the players when there are empty seats at some non-conference games?
Yeah, we need energy in that building when our fan base is up and going and our student section is going. I think it makes us more confident. I think you play better defense at home when your crowd is going, and we did get that in the second half down the stretch. But, again, I know our next home game is Duke, but we play Canisius on the 29th. We need a good crowd for that.
That's actually your next home game.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. So, I mean, we need that's what I'm trying to say. We need energy in there and then the rest of the way the ACC, because we've always played confident when that building has had energy in it.
And if you're on Christmas break, we do have a deal running on the Canisius game. You can buy 4 tickets to that game on UND.com. It's on December 29th. Tip-off's been moved to 5 p.m., so if you're coming back from visiting the parents or the kids and you're getting in Sunday midday, tip-off is now 5 p.m. It's going to be on ESPNU, but if you go to UND.com and use the promo code FANPACK, you can get 4 tickets for $40, so $10 a seat. They are upper arena, but in the Purcell Pavilion, there are no bad seats. That's really, I actually like being a little higher sometimes. We have great seats at home, but when I sit behind you on road games and you keep standing up in front of me, I'd like to be a little bit higher. I'll tell you that.
I'll sit down more Saturday so you can see the game.
No, I am up high down there. They put us way up down there. Oh yeah, you can do it.
Well, these Christmas games traditionally, we've had some great crowds for those Christmas games. Kids are home and families want to. Hey, let's go out and I would anticipate we get a good one there for on the 29th. Obviously, January 4th will probably take care of itself.
And the Christmas clinic, the men's basketball Christmas clinic for youngsters, is the next day in the field house. Just contact the basketball office. They'll have all the details. Or just show up. You really only have to show up with your youngster, and they can take part. Doug Buell's here from Michigan City. What's been your biggest surprise this year, or who has been your biggest surprise this year, if there is one?
Well, I've been really pleased with Demetrius Jackson's progress. I mean, we put him in the starting lineup, and now he's playing really major minutes, and I think he's becoming very comfortable as a college basketball player. There's still things he can do better, and we got to keep coaching him up on that, and he wants to get better. But I think his transition has been, I was asked by one of our local guys who watched him in high school, said, do you think he'd shoot it that well? And he is shooting it at a high clip. Obviously, he plays with some guys that are really good passers and find him. But that's been good progress. Overall, Garrick Sherman has been really, he wasn't maybe as good last night as he's been other nights, but, he's been our one big guy from day one. Number one, he's been healthy the whole time.
On the rebounding.
And he's improved in that area. He gets 10 rebounds. He had 13 rebounds. We got to keep building on that too.
Sherm's got 2 double-doubles, the second last night, and he's never had any before in his career, either here or Michigan State. So certainly improvement there. Kevin's here from Mishawaka. Coach, your team shot 29 threes against North Dakota State. In your opinion, what is the proper balance between threes and twos?
Well, that's a great question, and I think it all depends on how you're being defended. If you're playing against a zone for 40 minutes, Syracuse, or a very packed-in man-to-man, your tendency is going to be that you're going to take some more three-point shots, maybe more than your normal percentage. Given our numbers and stats from the three-point line, over 40%, that doesn't really bother me. If those are good shots, we keep taking them because our percentages say we're pretty good shooters from there. Where it would be a problem is if you didn't have a very good shooting team and you continued to fire from there. I mean, I didn't want Pat Connaughton turning down a shot. I didn't want Steve Astoria turning down the second shot in the corner after he hit the one up top. And I thought Eric Atkins turned down a three because he hadn't made one in a while. And we're going to have to take those because that is a weapon of how we score. And the percentages say we're good from there, especially Atkins, Grant, Connaughton, and Jackson. If you got a good look, you got to take it. I don't know if maybe I have to threaten him. If you don't shoot a good shot, I'm taking you out. Has anybody ever been told that? I'm taking you out. If you don't shoot it, I'm taking you out.
You did it to Connaughton last year.
Yeah, I did do it to Connaughton last year. I used to do it to Chris Quinn. You didn't take a shot, you're coming out. They're like, what? I thought you usually take me out if I don't guard somebody. But B.J. Beacham is another guy who can shoot the basketball. Bastoria. Like I said earlier, guys that can shoot it in our program, They've let it rip. I just thought we were, second half of Bryant and most of the game, but really second half last night, we're turning them down and you're not feeling confident. We got to get in a good rhythm in practice to feel good about flowing again offensively on Saturday afternoon.
Well, my observation of you in practice this year, I think you are encouraging this team to attack the lane on dribble drives more than any team you've had, and that, regrettably, is North Dakota State's strength. I think that they packed the lane at times. It almost looked like a zone, and it wasn't, as well as any team that you've ever played in terms of walling it out, and I think that had a certain frustration factor for your team.
No, it did, and, I think in the second half, Jaron was actually able to get in there a little bit and kick the shooters, and we just couldn't knock enough of them down to kind of feel good about ourselves. But you're right. I mean, we have been driving the ball more and getting fouled. It was a little harder to drive the ball against a packed-in defense.
I promised a special stat, and here it is. NCAA active players' career assist-to-turnover ratio. Number 1 in the country is Eric Atkins right now. Number 2 is Jaron Grant. Number 3 is Aaron Kraft from Ohio State. But to have 2 guys lead the entire country, not just in the course of a season, but over the course of their careers. In Eric's instance, 4 years of playing now, 3 years for Jaron. That's truly remarkable.
Yeah, I mean, that is we've had a lot of impressive stats nationally, team-wise and individual-wise in my 14 years. I don't know if we've ever had one that impressive, those 2 guys over the course of their career. That is why our assist-to-turnover is really good. And I think their passing and decision-making gets a little bit it gets almost a little bit addictive. The other guys learn from it. I think Demetrius Jackson has learned to be better with the ball watching Eric and Jaron play. And that would go for VJ and Steve, too. Those guys don't turn it over. Wow, they really value the ball, those veteran guys. And I think it's helped our young guards. That is an amazing statistic. And that's where it starts. Those 2 guys stir the drink for us as far as getting the ball to right places, making good decisions, playing off of each other.
And this is also, as we go to break, another impressive stat. Now, it is early in the season, but Notre Dame has played one of its tougher non-conference schedules so far. Eric currently leads the country in assist-to-turnover ratio at just under 6.7 per game. That, too, is amazing. We're going to meet VJ Beacham right after this time out on the Mike Brey Radio Show. We are back at the Mike Brey Radio Show, live from O'Rourke's Public House. I'm Jack Nolan. Coach Brey is here, and please welcome VJ Beacham, 6'8", native Hoosier forward from Fort Wayne, Indiana, New Haven High School. VJ, welcome to the show.
Oh, thank you for having me.
I know you are exceedingly excited about VJ being on your team. I mean, one of the things that he's suffering from a little bit now is you've really got your recruiting going in recent years. He's got talented guys in front of him, but he's going to play.
He's going to play, and he's going to be playing. Just stay ready. He's coming. He really is. And first of all, what a classy individual this guy is. He had a great high school career down there at Fort Wayne. I know his parents are probably watching tonight down there, and all his people. But he continues to come to practice every day and get better, like a freshman should do. He continues to go after Jaron Grant and Pat Connaughton on a daily basis. And there are many days he gets the best of them. That's what he should be doing. And as this season plays out, the marathon that it is, all of a sudden, Steve Vestori was in there. VJ Beacham's going to be in there too. He's coming. He's got a great attitude, feel for the game, got great length. Just getting to be more of a feel of what a college basketball player is, and he gets to play against veteran guys every day, which is really helpful.
And you heard Coach say watching. We do want to welcome everybody watching on WatchND right now. We do video stream this show live. We post a video archive within 24 hours after the show, so you can watch it later. And we also put the audio on iTunes. So there's lots of way to keep up with Coach Brey and this program. VJ, 1,531 points during his high school career, 22.3 points as a senior with 7 rebounds, 3 assists, 2 steals per game. Lots of folks wanted this guy to play. Now, this is not the complete list of colleges that recruited him, But there's some impressive names: Michigan State, Indiana, Purdue, Ohio State, Georgetown, Butler, Stanford. All these guys wanted you to come play for them, and this guy convinced you to come here to Notre Dame. How did that happen?
He's a great coach and especially a great guy. That's what I love about Coach Brey. He's going to push you, but at the same time, he's going to be there for you no matter what.
When you were meeting, and you met a lot of great coaches and a lot of great guys, but when you're playing for your AAU team and you're being recruited, tell me what kind of reputation he has.
Just as being a great guy and a great coach. He gets the best out of his players and develops guys over the course of their career, and hopefully he can do the same for me.
Now, Notre Dame's always recruited nationally, but you saved a little on travel expenses with this class. You've got 3 guys from the state of Indiana in this freshman class.
We have 3, and we have 4 on the roster, more than we've ever had. But our freshman class is very well represented in the state, and I love that for us. You know, we over time, we've not had a lot of Indiana kids, but we're on a nice roll in the state. And this guy, he doesn't even know how good he's going to be yet, but we're going to get him there. But the great thing is great attitude, coming to work every day, and when he gets called on, he'll be ready.
What do you think your strengths are as a basketball player?
I think right now shooting the ball from the outside, and I think really my offensive game overall. I think I especially need to work on defense. But I think I'm coming around as a rebounder, so I think I'm getting better at that.
Now, you've had to make 2 transitions, from high school basketball to college basketball, but also from high school academics to college academics. Which one has been tougher?
Honestly, on the court has been pretty tough, but having some guys there to support me each and every day in my freshman class and the veterans, it's really been a good transition for me.
Now, he was the first member of this current freshman class to commit. So how much of a role did he play after that in terms of talking with his fellow recruits and eventually fellow commits?
I think he was very important, especially with the 2 other Indiana guys. You know, he was kind of the rock-solid guy that was he was working as hard as I was on those other guys, Torres and Jackson, and I think then he got to know Steve too. But, that first guy in a class always kind of shapes the class. I remember Zach Hillisland was the first one to commit, and then it was Ayers, McElharney, Zeller. You need one to get that thing going. And now the nice thing is because of location, VJ came up here a lot and saw us play through his early years of high school. He used to come up, play against our guys in camp. Parents would bring him up, beautiful family. And so he really, he knows us inside now because he's been hanging around watching us for a while.
And certainly nowadays you don't just play for your high school team, you play for your AAU team. And if you're good enough, well, you get selected for all-star teams. And he was a member of the Indiana all-star team that swept Kentucky last June, the game here, the game there. And one of your teammates was Demetrius Jackson. You and Demetrius have played a lot of basketball together.
Yes, we have. That's really a goal of ours, really, when I committed, and I was trying to get him to come to play with me, to play with him a little more before we came here.
Now, Coach mentioned a guy named Ryan Ayers, and I've heard other people say that your game has some similarity. Now, you were little when Ryan was here. As we get older, the years don't matter as much, but when you're young, they do. But what do you know about Ryan, and is that an accurate comparison?
I think it is. He's been around since I've been here. I know he stopped by 2 times, and I've seen him work out and play with him a little bit. So I'd definitely say that it's a pretty accurate comparison.
All right, we've got some audience questions for VJ, and we'll get to those right after this timeout on the Mike Brey Radio Show, live from O'Rourke's Public House. We are back on the Mike Brey Radio Show, live from O'Rourke's Public House. Coach Brey's here, so is VJ Beecham. I know you're very excited about playing Duke. Are you equally excited about the whole ACC thing?
Yes, I am. That's something I've been excited about ever since I heard the news.
Now, I mean, I grew up knowing the ACC tournament was really the first postseason conference tournament. It was the granddaddy. Everybody else kind of followed them. But for a younger guy like you, what did you know about the ACC growing up in Fort Wayne?
Really a lot. I used to follow the ACC. I've always been a huge fan of basketball and really basketball everywhere. So playing in the ACC has really been something big for me. You know,
ever since I've been here, we've always had a radio station down in Fort Wayne. As a matter of fact, when I used to call these games for WNDU 30 years ago, we had a station down there that would pick up the Notre Dame game. So are there a lot of Notre Dame fans down there still?
Yes, there is. There's a ton, really. When I committed, I got a lot of support from people back home.
So it wasn't like you were living in Bloomington or Evansville. I mean, that's a place where people weren't giving you as hard a time as they might have somewhere else.
Exactly. I remember playing against some of the Catholic schools. They were actually cheering for me. So
That's a good Notre Dame town, Fort Wayne. We have a matter of fact, we have a lot of basketball season ticket holders that make the commute up, and even more of them now because of this guy.
Oh, I got to be one of the great atmospheres of any game you've ever played was CT's, Chris Thomas's senior year. The game in Fort Wayne against St. Louis was just actually magical. I know it was an NIT game, but it's one of my fondest memories.
Great environment, and he was rolling, wasn't he? My son had a great line that night. He had 38, and he made a shot, and he slid under, like, my legs at the bench, and I picked him up. My son was young at the time, said, "Dad, the only thing you did tonight was pick Chris Thomas up. He did everything else." I said, "You are exactly right." We rode him. He had 38. And the Fort Wayne fans were awesome. And again, we appreciate their support because they make the trek up here for a lot of our sporting events.
Going to play in a lot of great venues this year. Which one are you the most excited about playing in the first time?
Definitely Madison Square Garden. I mean, it's the mecca of basketball, and really every basketball player wants to play there, so I'm excited about it.
I would imagine that had something to do with the Gotham tournament because you don't want to not be in New York City.
Yeah,
we thought we were done and we're not.
Right. That was the attractive thing about this up until last night.
Yeah, I know.
No, I'm kidding you. And no, this was to get into the Garden again because we're not there to play St. John's and we're not there for the Big East tournament. And, you know, we have a lot of fans, basketball fans, that have been trained to seeing us in the Garden. So I think we have to try and get back through there annually in some way, shape, or form. Are you going to play St. John's? Are you going to be in some kind of tournament so you get into the Garden? You know, the last time we were in the Garden in the Big East tournament, we were playing pretty darn good. And I sure hope we can bottle that and remember it on the 21st of December.
Now, Renee Buell's here. She's right over there. They're big Notre Dame fans come over from Michigan City. And she's got two questions for you, so I'm going to ask them both. First of all, what's at the top of your Christmas list this year?
I say a win against Ohio State and a win against Duke. Definitely. Those two big games for us.
You don't shoot low, do you?
We'll take that, baby.
All right. We're all putting that on our list. She'd also like to know who tells the best jokes on the team.
It's a lot of guys. We have a really funny team, but probably Garrick Sherman or Jaron Grant. Those two guys are pretty funny.
All right. Well, you're going to get a chance here to be funny. You've already been able to preview this. You've done the TV version of the Fast Break. This one's longer. It's the radio version, and VJ will run the Fast Break right after this timeout. Mike Brey Radio Show live from O'Rourke's Public House. We're back at O'Rourke's Public House, the Mike Brey Radio Show, and it's one of our favorite segments of the show. I know all the fans love it. We call it the Fast Break. It's rapid-fire questions, and the player can have fun with his teammates, whatever answer he wants to give, so we'll get right to it. Favorite all-time movie?
He got game.
Get up early or sleep in?
Get up early.
Who is your role model?
Definitely my dad.
One thing the public would be surprised to learn about you?
I'm really a funny guy, and I love the game of basketball. Now everybody would know that.
The last part. Favorite NBA player?
Kobe Bryant.
Favorite part of practice?
Scrimmaging.
Worst part of practice?
Really, I love practice, so really not anything.
He loves practice.
Loves practice. He plays in practice like he loves practice. People, they say that wouldn't know anything about him, that his dad beats him one-on-one.
Oh, really? Does he?
Not anymore.
Not anymore, but
Not
for
anymore.
a while he did.
His dad's a good player.
We asked you about the best part of your game. How about the part of your game you need to work on the most?
Defense.
Player on the team most like you?
Eric Atkins.
Team not on this year's schedule that you would like to play?
Purdue.
Now, you haven't had the full run of Notre Dame game day uniforms. I know there's at least one new one that's still back in the closet you haven't seen. But right now, what's your favorite Notre Dame game day uniform?
Gold.
Best thing about playing in Purcell Pavilion?
Really having the support of our crowd, our home crowd, really is big for us.
One thing that Coach Brey says that always sticks in your head?
Everything, really. I try to listen to everything that he says.
Assistant coach who is most like Coach Brey?
I'd say Moose. Yep, Coach Inglesby.
I would agree with that. Good comparison. Player on the team most likely to be on the cell phone the longest.
Cam Beachside by far.
Toughest class you've taken at Notre Dame so far?
My sociology class this summer, my first college class.
Favorite class?
My history seminar that I'm taking right now.
City or place in the world you'd like to visit?
London,
One person you would like to meet?
dead or alive.
Either.
Martin Luther King Jr.
Best nickname on the team and who has it?
That's tough. Meech for Demetrius Jackson.
Meech, huh?
Meech.
Not DJ?
Nope, Meech.
Can I start calling him Meech on the radio?
Yeah.
Or you have to earn that? You might have to earn that.
Check with him. Just check with him.
I will. He said DJ was okay, but Meech, I just don't know if the folks, they probably think that there was something wrong
It's
with the
short
radio
for
signal.
Meechy.
And what is Meechy?
It's just his nickname.
All right.
If you lived in this town, you should know that. That was his.
I
right?
never heard Meechy. I heard
right,
DJ.
BJ?
All right. Meechy?
Yep, Meech.
Meechy, Meech for short. That's
All
what they
right.
call him. Meech.
Best player to room with on the road?
Tom Knight. He's pretty chill.
Pretty chill. Player most likely to become a coach?
Eric Atkins.
Toughest Notre Dame player to guard?
Jaron Grant. I have to guard him every day. It's tough.
Best shooter on the team?
Pat Connaughton.
Best defender on the team?
Probably Jaron or Pat. Both of them pretty good on D.
Best leaper on the team?
Austin Torres.
Best dunker on the team?
Probably me.
Okay. Worst dunker on the team?
Eric Atkins.
Now, on best dunker, I think you were going to say something. I cut you off.
No, I would agree
Okay,
with that.
all right.
He has some length. When he stretches out and dunks, sometimes you go, I didn't think he was going to be able to dunk from that far out. He's long.
Best dresser on the team?
A lot of guys. We have a pretty good sense of fashion, but I'd probably say Eric Atkins.
So the other side of that question is always worst dresser on the team.
Sherm.
And he'd be fine with that because he just doesn't care, does he?
Yeah, that's true.
What is the normal Sherm outfit? What's he going to wear on a road trip? Just sweats?
No, usually some jeans,
Right.
Adidas shoes, and you can never forget the John Deere hat ever.
Yeah. Best singer on the team?
Zach August.
All right. Worst singer on the team?
That's pretty tough. Eric Katenda.
Now, would you be the best comedian on the team?
No. Probably, like I said, Jaron. Or
Okay. Free throw contest. Who wins, you or Coach Brey?
I've seen Coach Brey knock a few down before practice, but I think I could take him out.
All right. We'll have to set this up one
I
of
think
these
he's
days.
right. I think he's right.
Once again, you've completed
Great
the
job,
fast break.
BJ.
Great job.
buddy.
Thank you, guys.
Great job.
We'll be back to wrap things up on this edition of the Mike Brey Radio Show right after this timeout. We are back on the Mike Brey Radio Show. Jack Nolan, Mike Brey, and VJ Beecham, freshman from Fort Wayne, and it is now completely looking ahead. I mean, again, 7-3 isn't bad, but it's not where you want it to be.
No.
You did not lose. I mean, when it comes down to March, these are not going to be losses that drag you down from an RPI perspective, but they are going to be losses you didn't want to have.
No, I guess you could put it this way. It's bad because you lost. But they're not bad losses because these three teams are good teams and will go on to have good years. And the great thing about college basketball, and we have proven it here many times when November and December and even a lot of January has been up, down, left, right, sideways, you get on a little run in your league and you pick off some key wins. Of course, we have one Saturday and one the 21st. All of a sudden you're in the discussion again. And so that's what's great about unlike college football. You know, you're out of the picture. You lose. You can always make a run through a power league in the ACC, and we've done it over and over again. When I remember when Abramitis went down.
I was thinking the same thing in the Gonzaga game.
He went down in the Gonzaga, when we went to Maryland without Jack Cooley. We went down to Indiana, lost to Indiana. We were 5-4. and somehow we
and the sky was falling. I remember that.
Somehow we got a 7 seed. So, we found ways to reinvent and do stuff and figure it out and keep teaching, keep coaching them up, and we got good leadership on this team. I love my team. I mean, I love them. I told them that last night after the game. I love our group. I'm trying to figure out how to help them better, and my staff and I, and we'll keep racking our brains to do that.
Well, it's not necessarily South Bend's team, and you've proven it's not necessarily Fort Wayne's team, but generally Indiana's been considered Indiana's #1 college basketball team, and you get to play them for the first time in Indianapolis on Saturday. How many guys do you know on that team?
Probably, I'd say 3 or 4 guys.
Okay, give us your scouting report on the Hoosiers.
I know they like to run and get up and down the court, and they're pretty good defensively, so I think getting back on transition would be big for us, but I think we can pull it out and get a big win.
That's funny. Did you give him the scouting report already? Because that sounds strangely like what you said in the press conference today.
Coach Solomon watched some film. He has the scout. We watched a little film of him, and he talked about bullet points, and he's a good student. He just kind of spit them back out.
This is not a neutral court. It's not their home court.
No.
But it's certainly last year, the game with Butler, and what a tremendous game it was. But that building was 80% red, and when Indiana stunningly lost in the shot at the buzzer, it emptied. Yeah. By the time you guys played Purdue, there were like 2,000 people left.
Yeah, when I yell, it would echo in there.
Yeah, it was. I could hear you up on that deck.
And that was a great win for us. It's funny. I was looking. Indiana's 1-1 in this thing. We're 1-1 in this thing. Purdue's 0-2, and Butler's 2-0. So this is again year 3. It's a great event. We want to keep this thing going. Again, the energy in that building is also almost NCAA tournament-like. So I'm excited for our guys in that atmosphere. We have played well in a similar atmosphere already this year. Iowa City, let's go do it again.
Let's do X's and O's. What are the keys for your team?
Well, as VJ said, they really run and push it. So our transition defense is the key. And can we rebound the basketball and block out and keep them to one and done because they're long and athletic. And then on that offensive end, let's play with a free mind and let it rip if you got a shot and get into that offensive flow that we've kind of been famous for around here.
Anybody that you're waiting to take the next step on your team as you continue to develop?
I think everybody. Everybody who is not getting a big bite of the apple now. We talked about Zach, Steve Astoria, Austin Burgett coming, BJ. I think, for all of we're trying to keep every ball in the air right now as we still keep evaluating our group. And you know what? I think we're going to be doing that for a while, Jack. I just think that's the kind of team we have, and we're looking at a lot of different things and different guys step forward. So that's one of the points I made with the team today. I said, I just keep doing your thing. Everybody's going to you're going to get called on. You're going to get a shot. You get called on and you deliver. All of a sudden you could be in there. And but I think that's going to be a changing thing throughout the season, especially on the front line.
Coach, a pleasure as always.
Always
Thank
good
you.
to be with you. Thank you.
Outstanding
Great job,
BJ.
BJ.
Folks,
Great job,
we'll be
buddy.
here again next Thursday. It's always a great opportunity to hear Coach and meet one of the players. For Coach Brey and VJ Beecham, I'm Jack Nolan. Thanks for listening. Good night and go Irish.